Hey guys, welcome to video number 61. I love making videos, despite the fact that I don't make a lot of them. It doesn't mean I don't love making them. Do I not make them because I'm older or because I'm tired or because I'm lazy? Yes, there are no wrong answers there. Those are three perfect answers why I do not make a lot of videos. But let's get into video number 61. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the number one thing I think is super important when you're, as an example, somebody's been keeping reptiles for many years. They reach out to somebody they trust like myself and they buy their first baby emerald tree boa or first baby green tree python. They do everything right. They listen to me and they still can't get that baby to feed once it first arrives in their new home. And it's really frustrating for them. It's frustrating for me as the seller because I know the baby was eating really well. But look, at the end of the day, it's nobody's fault. We're all learning. And I want to talk about that today. I know I'm not the only person dealing with that. I speak to a lot of my friends who produce and sell baby arboreals. They run into the same issues. So I'm hoping I could help everybody today by giving you guys some tips and tricks for getting those newly transitioned babies that just arrived in your home feeding when they're not feeding, even if you think you're doing everything right. The second thing we're going to do is getting to some breeding activities, some updates on my breeding activities, breeding season. So far, I got 3 clutches since I saw you guys last. I have a couple other gravid females, a lot of stuff going on with breeding. So why don't we jump into this video right now with getting caught up with my breeding season. So my 2025 breeding season, how is it going so far? It's actually going pretty good. I got to tell you, started out really bad, going much better now. So how did we start out? Okay, check out this clip. That's from my last video. These are 2 of my jungle carpets that I am not afraid to hold. That's my big, beautiful female jungle carpet. She was about 8, 9 years old. She was gravid. She was building follicles. She was just starting to lay inverted. She was just starting to lay on her back because I knew she was gravid. She was off a feed. She was going to start ovulating any day. I woke up and she was dead. That's exactly what happened. It's terrible. It just broke my heart. The reality is it happens. There must have been complications. Something may have burst with her complications due to her being gravid. So that's how my 2025 season started out, with that beautiful girl losing her. That really stunk. What was my next thing that happened? I had a green tree python lay 4 slugs. I showed you in my last video, I showed you 3 gravid females. One of those girls, after all said and done, I saw her ovulate. She gave me 3 slugs. What's a slug? A slug is basically an uncalcified egg. Super easy to tell apart from a slug from an unfertilized egg. An unfertilized egg, they're actually torturous unfertilized eggs, because you're looking at a clutch, you see a female on a clutch of eggs, they look perfect, and then you hit them with a flashlight, and there's no vein development whatsoever. They're completely yellow on the inside. So a slug is uncalcified egg, and a infertile egg is basically an egg that looks perfect and has no veins, so it's basically a dead egg. So yes, that first female gave me 4 slugs. Second female, she dropped her eggs from the perch. So that's what I'm dealing with so far. A dead jungle carpet python, 4 slugs, and the third green tree python dropped her eggs from the clutch, from the perch. I'll show you a picture of that as well. So here's the good news, guys. If a green tree python drops her eggs from her perch, it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad eggs. It means she's not a great mom. She didn't do everything right either. She never had her post-ovulation shed. I knew her timing was off. But I always keep coconut bark on the bottom of my enclosures when a female's gravid. So if they do drop the eggs from the perch, I also use a much smaller water bowl. If they drop the eggs from the perch, they're going to have a nice soft landing, and as long as they're fertile, I know they're going to hatch. If they're unfertile to begin with, it doesn't matter whether she drops them or not. So the good news is I have 8 eggs from her incubating right now that all look pretty good. We're coming up on the 13, 14-day mark on her. So that's the one good success story so far of the 3 I've mentioned to you. So now my 4th female drops. Of my 3rd chondro, 4th gravid female. And great news, guys, I have 16 perfect eggs from her. So right now I am incubating a total of 24 Manokwari to Manokwari eggs. So I'm really excited about this clutch. I'll put a picture of her up as well with the eggs. They were all look perfect. So fingers crossed, they all go to distance. I wanted to show you guys really quickly as far as my incubation, because I get asked about this all the time. Man, I keep it so simple. I incubate all my eggs the same way, whether it's green tree pythons, Savu pythons, Angolan pythons, ball pythons, children's pythons, they all incubate the same way. I just take one of these Cambro containers. Doesn't matter what you use. You guys want to use the, I can't think of the name of them, those, the ones that John sells, the monitor breeder. His tubs, whatever tubs you want to use. I like these only because they're a little bit larger. I fill them up with water about halfway up. I sit them on these little PVC plumbing cups, basically from Home Depot. some light grating, or as we call it, egg crating, basically, from Home Depot, stick it on top, put the lid on. I ask this question all the time. There are no air holes in here, no air holes whatsoever, okay? I don't put air holes in my egg box. I also do not put the probe for my incubator into my egg box. I basically stick this in the incubator, 87.4 degrees. The last 2 weeks of incubation, I'll lower it by 1 degree, but that's pretty much it. I mean, there's no vermiculite, there's nothing. It's just no substrate method. It works for me every time. I think people overcomplicate it personally. I don't know why people would use, vermiculite or hatcherite with green tree python eggs, because they're so small, and there's not a lot of room for error with those eggs because they're so small. But anyway, these are all incubating, doing really well. So what else do I have going? I have 2 gravid children's pythons. They're het for T positive albino, so I'm excited about that. 2 definite girls on that. Definitely at least 1 ball python gravid right now. Probably going to be 2, which I know we all produce. There's tons of ball pythons out there, but you know what? I only have 2 of them. I love them. I don't produce a lot, so I still get excited even with ball pythons. Diamond pythons are breeding nonstop right now. I'm really excited about that. And what else? Sanzinia. It's not looking that great for the female I thought about this year. She was looking really good for a while. She just shed. She's eating, so again, I'm just going to keep trying on the Sanzinia. I'm keeping them together, and that's what I've been doing differently than in the seasons past. I keep them together. I'm going to let them do their thing. I'm going to gently cool them, and I'm going to food cycle them and light cycle them, but I'm basically going to keep them together all the time now. So far, pretty good breeding season. Oh, I have 1 more green tree python I think is going to drop as well. So that would be hopefully I'll get my 3rd viable clutch of green tree python eggs this year. And that's pretty much it. So why don't we talk about getting baby green tree pythons or baby arboreals to feed that just arrived into your new home. Hey guys, I think if you're an arboreal breeder, or if you're an arboreal customer, it's your first baby arboreal, I think the most frustrating things are getting a new baby or shipping off a new baby to a client, and that baby is not feeding because you knew it was feeding really well for you. And trying to teach somebody how to feed a baby arboreal over the phone after they tell you it's not feeding, it's kind of like trying to explain to somebody over the phone how to drive like a 5-speed in a car without actually driving the 5-speed, you know what I mean? You're trying to like verbalize exactly how it should be done without sitting in the driver's seat. And that's basically what it's done. So it's a little bit tricky, but I could tell you this is that a lot of it just always comes down to whenever I sell a baby to, and by the way, I guess I want to make perfectly clear, if somebody's out there right now thinking I'm speaking to them directly because I'm dealing with a couple different customers right now that are having problems getting their babies feeding, I promise I am not talking to you guys. I promise you I'm not. This is just a very general thing that happens to anybody who sells baby arboreals, and it happens to anybody who just recently bought a baby arboreal. So here's what I could tell you. Don't get too caught up in the temperature and humidity in your enclosure with your baby arboreal if it's not feeding. As long as you're within the parameters of, say, 65% humidity, you have a decent, a nice thin perch, and your temperature is anywhere from, say, 81 to 83 degrees, everything is fine. It always comes down to feeding technique. And I know that sounds so frustrating because that's something I don't feel anybody's really a master or an expert with feeding baby arboreals until they either produce their first clutch of baby emeralds or their first clutch of baby chondros. Until you produce your own baby arboreals and you establish them on your own, you're not truly an expert feeder. Up until that point, when you're kind of new and just getting into baby arboreals, there is a major learning curve, and it takes a lot of patience, and you always have to listen to the person who sold you those animals. But I promise you, in time, if you listen to the person, as long as they're a capable person and they have the expertise themselves, and they will walk you through it, and they'll get that baby feeding. So let's jump into, I'm going to pull some babies out right now, and instead of me talking about how I get them feeding, I'm going to show you guys how I get them feeding. Okay, so you just got your first baby arboreal in. The first thing you're going to do is you want to duplicate the efforts of the person you brought it from as closely as you can. I keep all my babies. First off, I don't even sell babies, guys. I sell well-established, I sell really like juveniles, like many months old with probably minimally 20 to 25 meals. So nothing is eating pinkies, everything is eating fuzzy mice, okay? But what you want to do is, if the breeder has been keeping them in a shoebox, it's always tricky with me because when people are buying animals from me and they're asking about enclosures, when I'm selling babies, most of the time they're right between the size where they should either be in a shoebox or a sweater box. In a perfect world, everybody buying baby arboreals would have a shoebox rack. The shoeboxes are nice and small, and it makes a nice, smooth, and easy transition for the new owner. Unfortunately, because I'm always really cost sensitive with the people buying animals from me, I typically push them towards, if it's their first arboreal, if they have no caging set up, I'll typically push them towards a sweater box. And I do that because I hate them see them put a baby in a shoebox only for, maybe 2 to 3 months, and then have to spend more money and get a shoebox rack. Or more money and get a sweater box rack or a larger, 12 to 15 quart rack. So, I'm always, in my effort to try to save the buyer money, the new Arboreal keeper money, I push them towards a larger enclosure. And unfortunately, sometimes that hurts the effort of trying to get these babies to feed, because now you're taking them from a shoebox, you're shipping them, and then you're putting them in a larger enclosure. Listen, most of the time, I will tell you, 80% of the time, babies will eat for their new owners, especially if it's an experienced owner. For the newer owners, though, this is their first Arboreal, I will tell you roughly 20 to 25% of those babies are just going to give them a little bit of a tough time. Okay, so first off, these are shoe boxes. I'm going to show you how I feed babies. Now, we're feeding at night, and typically, if you just bought a baby Arboreal, I would say never take the shoe boxes out like this. What you want to do is you want to leave them in the rack and just slide them halfway out through the rack. I just took them out, guys, because I think you'd be able to see them a lot better. It's definitely nighttime here. Always feed your babies at night. And always remember, too, it may take some effort to get the first meal in them, but it'll be each subsequent meal will be much easier with far less teasing. Despite the fact that my babies don't need any teasing when they leave here, unfortunately, after the transition of moving, they will require some teasing. So what are we doing? We're going to, first off, for this guy's going to take a little bit of a hopper mouse and a fuzzy mouse for this guy right here. And actually, Andres, if you're watching, these are your two babies. I'm using your babies because we're not shipping this week. We're going to ship you next week, so I'm using your two babies as an example. First thing we're going to do, guys, we're going to take the prey items right here. I don't normally hold them with my hand, guys, under a light. Typically what I do is I put them on my cart, the rodents that I'm using. I call it my Roy Rogers or my McDonald's French fry light, and I heat up my rodents like this. I do not use water. I advise you guys don't use warm water to heat your rodents. And I say that because when you use water, as soon as the rodents are taken out of the water, they hit room temperature, man, they drop in temperature really quickly. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come over to these animals, and they're probably going to eat really quickly, and which is not really a good representation of what's going to happen after I ship them. But I'll show you what I do. I just take the rodent like that, and I do some light tapping like that. I get the animal's attention, right? It's the first thing I'm doing. See what that animal just did? It just struck. If you are going to get your baby Arboreal, whether it's an emerald tree boa or a green tree python feeding, and if it is not striking, or it's not running off the perch within 20 seconds, it should be doing one of those things, either striking at the prey item, or it should be so annoyed with you it's trying to get away from you. If one of those two things is not happening, you are not being aggressive enough. You never want to tap the baby in the face. You always want to tap it on its body. But again, if you're out here more than a minute, just tapping this animal, you're just stressing the hell out of it, and you're not doing it right. So see how I'm going to tap it like that? Just like that. You see how, I could have fed it already. I'm just doing this for the camera. I'm slowing it down, but watch this. Boom. See, that's how fast every baby I ship out eats. Andres, this is your red Biak cross Aru, little tap right there, and boom. That's how quickly they eat. So all I really did was I got the animal's attention, I tapped it, I didn't tap it on its face. I went in, I'm not like really hurting the animal, but I'm getting its attention, and that's the key thing. So we got these two feeding. Let me take out a couple more babies, and hopefully they'll eat a little slower so I can show you guys even better how you're going to transition your new babies. Okay, let's try it with two more really well-established babies. When you guys are seeing babies this size, understand something. If they're on fuzzy mice, that means they've minimally had 20 to 25 meals. If you're buying a baby that hasn't eaten for you yet, and if it's established like this, you do not need chick down. You do not need to scent them with anything. These are established animals. Never, under any circumstances, force feed these babies. They have great weight on them. You do not need to do that. I want to stress this without sounding like I'm blaming anybody. I'm not blaming anyone. But if your babies are not feeding, and they were previously feeding for the new owner really well, it is all about feeding technique, and it's all about the learning curve. Make no bones about it, okay? There's nothing wrong with the animal. You don't need to scent. The prey item, you can feed a prey item too small. Make sure it's appropriate size prey item. But anyway, so Jeremy, these are your two animals. God, I love these animals. I was actually going to keep these back, but they're going to Jeremy. Look how, can you get that one, baby, right there? How dark green that is. That thing is ridiculous. And by the way, sales plug, I am going to be making about 6 more of these available in the coming weeks, actually, too. Really some awesome babies. So let's feed these two guys for you. This animal's not giving me any attention right now. So all I'm going to do is go in and boom, just give it a couple taps here. Now, typically I do feed them in the rack. I took them out, but it'll still eat. Look, come on, baby. There you go. Boom. And let's get this one going. Get its attention. See, I'm tapping on the body, tapping on the sides. I have its attention. It's striking. As soon as it's doing that, boom. And that's it, just like that. So, guys, most importantly, what happens when the new baby arrives? What's the first thing you should do? I would put it away in its shoebox rack, or if you have a sweater box, just put it away. look, I'm going to be honest with you. This is not me. I'm not good at many things in life. I can get babies feeding. If they came in the night of, I'll get them feeding. Any experienced breeder will get them feeding the night of they arrive. But if you're a newer keeper, don't even attempt it when they first come in. Always wait minimally. Some people would say up to a week. I say wait a few days before you try to feed them. And then you want to disturb them as little as possible when they first come in. And again, you're going to leave them in the rack, and you're going to just slowly take out half, maybe the shoe box or the sweater box halfway out of the rack before you try to feed them, okay? And within 20 seconds, guys, if they're not striking or trying to get away from you, you got to be more aggressive. But what happens is after a minute or so, if you're just not getting it, and people get anxious, they get stressed out if the baby's not doing what they want, especially if it's your first time feeding a baby arboreal, I would suggest putting the animal back in the rack, waiting about another 15, 20 minutes coming back, or if you get really stressed, put it back and just try to get in a few days. All right, we got these two babies feeding. Let's do some, let's try some yearling animals right now. Let's get some yearling babies feeding. Hey guys, I want to show you how I'm going to feed some yearling Maniquari animals, but what we're going to do is we're going to not take the entire tub out. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I want you to feed when you get new animals from me or anybody. We're only going to slide half the tubs out. But before I do that, really important, one thing I want to say is that I remember specifically about 20 years ago from the great Rico Walder, I bought, it was probably about a year-old Amazon Basin Emerald female from Rico. And the thing was feeding really well, and I remember I got it. I just probably hadn't even bred green tree pythons at that time. And I remember it took me weeks. I couldn't get it to feed. I was really stressed out. Rico kept telling me how to feed it. The point I'm making is we've all been there. We've all been new. There is nothing wrong with being new. It's just that when you're new, you just got to try to stay calm, trust the breeder, listen to the breeder, and I promise the animal will eat. It may not eat on your timeline as quickly as you want it to, but just be patient, be aggressive with the feeding, and the animal will eat for you. Okay, so let's feed a couple of these are yearling Maniquaris. Now, this is for my older animals like this. I keep them in these Cambro tubs like this. All perches, by the way, David Brahms, the reptile perch. David, I love David's perches, the only perch I use, and I highly recommend them. So the animal clearly does not, it's not giving me any attention. It's barely, right now, it is like 7:30, and the reality is it's a little early for these animals to be eating, so I got to get their attention. So if this was a brand new animal for you, I'll take my tongs like that, I'll just go in, I could just tap it a little bit, and we're going to get it pissed off. We have its attention. I take the mouse, and these aren't even heated up, guys, because these animals are just so on point. You can see it's ready, and it's like, boom, that'll took 2 seconds. But I'm telling you, every baby I ship, guys, every one of them eats like this. I know what you're saying. It's not eating for me sometimes, Gary, but I promise you when I ship the animals, this is exactly how they eat. Derek, if you're watching, this is a baby that's going to be headed your way soon. I can't even say it's a baby. It's a year. I've had them all since babies, but it's obviously almost a year old at this point. Coming in, guys, here we come. We're going to tap the animal, get its attention. I already have its attention. The tongue is out flicking. All these animals, for the most part, are being sight-fed, meaning as soon as I open the drawer, look at this thing. That's how all these animals eat. It's crazy. So here we go. Boom. Derek, that's your animal. So Derek, if you call me and you tell me you can't get that baby feeding, I'm going to tell you that, I don't know, I'm going to have a big drink of alcohol or something like that night, maybe two. All right, let's wrap this video up. I hope I answered all your questions for you guys. And again, when you get a new baby and it's not feeding, the key is listen to the breeder, stay calm. I promise you that baby will eat. Okay, guys, so before we wrap this video up, first off, I don't mention him enough in the videos, the reptile perch by David Brahms. David is not a sponsor, guys. I get no money. I get nothing from David. I just love his perches. The thing I would say about David is that he breeds his own chondros, so he knows exactly what they need. He knows exactly about perches and dimensions and thickness, so I love him, the reptile perch, David Brahms. This female green tree python, she looks like crap right now. I know that. She's in a deep shed. She's my most blue pure Maniquari that I own. Actually, I produced her. I produced her mother, and I produced her grandmother. So if she produces for me, it's now going to be my 4th generation of this Maniquari line. She has me baffled, guys. So I'll tell you why she has me baffled. I did not see her ovulate. She went off feed. And but she's just, I don't know, she's not necessarily hanging underneath the heat, and she just wasn't as obvious to me as some of the other girls. So, you know, she has good weight on her, but the bottom line is in the next few weeks, I'm going to either be able to tell you, is she going to give me slugs? Is she going to give me nothing? Is she going to shed and just start eating again? I have no idea, but I feel pretty confident she's gravid, and based on that, fingers crossed, I'm getting some viable eggs, but we're going to see. These things will always keep you guessing. They did not read the complete chondro. They don't do things by the book all the time. So you just got to stay on your toes and let them do what they're going to do, and that's pretty much it. So listen, thanks for watching video number 61. USARK, as always, they need our support. They do so much for us, ask so little from us. I'm a gold member. I just renewed my membership again for this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. And in my next video, what I plan to do on this video, I'll do on the next video, is I want to show you guys a lot of my holdbacks from 2024, animals that I actually held back because I get so many animals in and I sell a lot of animals. So I want to show you guys some of the stuff that I actually keep for myself. See you guys next time on video number 62.
Who has the best YouTube channel? Me